Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to Spiker. Today we have a shiny new patch. 0.49 is well on its way, and just as I sat down to have my dinner, Riot decided to update with 2 blogs and some patch notes. So let's go and cover those, and then I can go and eat this pepperoni pizza that is now staying warm in the oven. Oh dearie me. We're actually going to get started with the blogs because there's something very interesting in there, which is about how you unlock agents. Right now you earn experience to complete contracts, and then eventually at level 5 of the contract you unlock and are able to play the agent. This has been causing some controversy as it does take you quite a lot of games to unlock the agents, and then the rewards past that are exceptionally long term. Now that's sort of up in the air, but unlocking the agents do take a long time. There are only 10 in the game, and you do get 2 for just playing the game nice and early, so you will get 7 agents very quickly, but the other 3, they're going to take a while longer, and as a result, yeah, there's a lot of concern. Now, it's not too bad when there's 10 agents, but when there's 15 or 20 or 25, you know, League had like an explosive growth of champions in it, this is something to be concerned about. So what Joe Lee has talked about, and I think I recruited that guy on Kashyyyk in Knights of the Old Republic, but regardless, he has come to talk about not only the agent unlock system, but also about some of the cosmetics. And in it, he says, I'll lead with the straightforward news on agent contract progression. It's a bit slow right now, so we're going to speed it up for launch. Don't think anyone's going to really mind that one, so yeah, glad to hear that that's going to be a bit faster. Our original plan was to introduce weekly missions that would provide meaningful chunks of XP to your character contracts. However, in playing through our current system, we realized that being gated by weekly missions to unlock the next agent you want to play doesn't feel very good. So at launch we'll be reducing the overall amount of experience needed per character contract level, while still having weekly missions function as supplementary XP boosts. So basically, yeah, you're going to get the agents faster, you're going to get stuff faster. Don't think anyone's really going to be upset about that one. It's going to be nice to be able to unlock the agents. This is definitely a game where having a bunch of different agents available to you is going to be super useful, and it's not like the agent abilities are so defining that, well, if it's your first time playing an agent, yeah, you might find some abilities a bit fiddly, but you can still shoot and click on people and kill people, so it's not too big an issue to try and pick up multiple agents and play multiple different roles in this game. Of course, focusing on 1 or 2 might be optimal, but in general, yeah, it's not the difference between playing, say, Tracer in Overwatch and then going and playing Mercy in Overwatch, right? There's huge differences between the 2 characters. Jolie also had this to talk about, which is the Prism custom skin line for your weapons, which has caused some controversy. Namely, it's a very plain looking skin despite being advertised as a premium level skin. It's a sort of metallic skin over your guns, and it doesn't change too much visually, it doesn't have any cool effects on it, and it's quite pricey. He's come out in defense of this, basically saying that, hey, yeah, some people, like, Prism was designed for people who want minimal gun aesthetics. You want to buy into a premium skin line that shows that off. So basically, people who don't want to have a big, fancy, over-the-top looking weapon. I quite like the Prism skin line, but I do agree that for what it is quite expensive. So it's something just to keep in mind. It's good to see the feedback actually getting through and saying, hey, well, maybe bring the price on these down, as the skins are very, very expensive. They have emphasized that none of this should affect gameplay. None of the cosmetics are going to make you shoot better or aim better. You don't buy a new custom skin and suddenly you're on gob with the operator. It's not how it unfortunately works, otherwise I would be shooting a lot better. But it's very much one of those things of, okay, this has got to be worth the price point. Right now the skins are very expensive. I bought Chimera Squad recently, the new XCOM thing, for about £8, and that's about the same price as some of these weapon skins. And I can tell you now, I've probably had more satisfaction out of Chimera Squad than I have had out of a number of these weapon skins as well in the beta. So definitely something just to keep in mind, that these are quite pricey, but they are cosmetic, so at the end of the day it's one of those things of, okay, just, you know, maybe bring it down. This is kind of the May legendary or epic skin, rather just like being a bit of a recolor for the Christmas event with Overwatch, for those of you who are around during that. The Prism line might not be quite as good as the guys at Riot perhaps think. Otherwise, we have a massive list of patch notes. I'm not going to run through all of them in meticulous detail, there's just no point, there's too many things to cover, but with 0.49 there's a whole bunch of different things that are coming that are all quite spicy and quite nice to hear. First things first, 0.49 brings with it the Ranked game mode, which won't be live immediately, but they will just go and test and see if the servers set on fire. As long as the servers remain unimmolated, then yeah, we should get ranked mode nice and quickly. So expect that coming up perhaps later in the week, perhaps next week, but sometime very, very soon. Definitely a lot sooner than I was expecting it, and I'm glad to kind of hear it's on its way. In terms of balance changes, there's not really too many changes to the agents, just a lot of bug fixing, especially for Phoenix and Viper, and one balance change for Omen. So Omen's ultimate that lets you teleport across the map, when you are doing it, you get this fancy graphic effect that the enemy can see as you kind of materialize through shadow in the back of the enemy lines. And it's very difficult to tell when, if you click him, it kills him, or when you click him, it just sends him back to where he came from. They're fixing that. They're making it much clearer that when you click Omen, you're going to kill him or you're going to send him back. And it's a risk versus reward thing, because of course if you wait too long, then he's going to just shoot you in the face. And that's not very good. So yeah, they're making it visually clearer, but as a result, they are also buffing the ultimate ever so slightly. They are making it less noisy, it's harder to hear where it teleports into, reducing the attenuation radius of the arrival sound on Omens from the shadows to 2250, whatever that means. Basically, yeah, you got to be nearer to hear where he's teleporting to. It's pretty straightforward. Other than that, there are visual updates apparently for Omen and Breach. Good to see. This game does still need a lot of visual love, if you ask me. Some map changes. They are adding some curtains to Haven. So if you aren't aware, Sage, and you're probably one of the 3 people on the planet that aren't aware of this, Sage can be really annoying on Haven double doors. So can Cypher, by the way. You can put cameras that just peek through this top slit of the doorway, and it gives you a ton of info into Courtyard, or you could shoot and get a lot of headshots into Courtyard while still being very safe. So they are changing that to make it impossible to do so by adding a little curtain. Isn't that nice? I like that. They're also fixing a number of issues with the maps, trying to improve frame rates and things like that. They're making the maps more homogenized. They're improving some sound issues on the map as well for how things sound if there is geometry between you and where the person is. So for example, if you're on bind and something's moving through B, you won't hear it as if it's standing right next to you. If you're stood in A mid, for example, it's going to be fine. And yeah, you're not going to get super confused about where things are quite as much, which is very nice to hear. Beyond that, there's some tweaks to the observer mode. God knows it needs it. If you watch some tournaments, you've probably seen that the observing right now is not the greatest. It's very difficult to use the observer client, but I'm sure they're working on that one. That one's a long-term problem. Let's not worry too much about that at the moment. In-game, though, they are fixing up the low health and low ammo visuals, so I don't know about you, but I've had definitely a tough time telling when I am low on hit points without manually checking the number specifically. Now, I don't want the Call of Duty, like, jam smeared all over my face that slowly gets absorbed into my face through time. Not very useful in a tactical shooter where visual clarity is kind of everything, but just something just to tell me that, you know, you're on 5 hit points, so maybe that dude who just has a pistol is actually kind of a big threat would be nice to actually have. Other than that, yeah, low ammo also going to be very useful. Just to, you know that you're not going around a corner with 2 bullets in your magazine would be spice. Let's just put it that way. That's going to be quite nice. Otherwise, a number of fixes to the minimap to make it clearer. A number of fixes to, if you are talking, then you'll have a voice thing above your head so people can see who's talking exactly. If you're playing with unfamiliar people, that's going to be useful. Pings are no longer going to stay sort of blocking your viewpoint. If you're pinging something and you put your crosshair over it, the ping should fade out of the way. Very nice. Minor thing, but those of you who try custom games also, you can now leave them. This is only a bug that can happen in video games where you couldn't leave custom games. You were just a prisoner until the game ended. You have to literally alt out 4 out the game, and then that could cause all sorts of problems joining other games, and it was very, very fiddly. So yeah, you can now leave custom games. Isn't that nice? I think that's nice. They've also apparently moved the crosshair center dot on shotguns, so shotguns have their own special crosshair at the moment with the dot and the circle. They've moved the crosshair center dot by 1 pixel just to center it specifically on the screen, and as a result, apparently anticipate that shotgun lethality is going to go up by 4,000%. I'm buying the Bucky every single round. Honestly, I love that gun. It's incredible. It's great. Hopefully they'll also fix the regular crosshairs. If you have your crosshair at a funky size, then it looks really awkward and off-center and kind of weird, so wouldn't mind seeing that one get a bit of a tweak. They're also doing some bug fixes with Phoenix's ultimate, just making it a bit more sensible, a little bit less likely to glitch out and bug you into some specific instances, or to take damage while still teleporting back somehow, which apparently was happening. I'm not a Phoenix player, but I take the dev's word for it. They've also apparently fixed the issue with Viper being able to see through Viper's nest sometimes, Viper's pit rather, which is good because that honestly is game breaking. The final change I will highlight is that the Bucky's alternate fire is now going to be completely hit scan. Apparently it was a projectile before. It's basically the airburst shot that sort of pings out about 5 meters and then does an airburst from there. That's being changed to be pure hit scan. Apparently it was causing some kill trace to happen because it was a projectile before, so now that's going to be a bit more consistent with the rest of the game. Beyond that, a lot of system fixes, or rather not system fixes, but UI fixes, flow fixes. Like I've had issues connecting to my friends sometimes if someone disconnects, for example. Hopefully those issues are going to be going away. Fixes to the flow of the end of round stuff, all of these tweaks happening to make the UI and everything a little bit nicer, a bit smoother, and a bit easier to use. Honestly, I'm fine with patches like this that just go in and fix various system issues. This is more about getting ranked into the game and less about balancing various agents. We just had a balance patch, so yeah, you leave that to percolate a little bit, see who floats to the top, see who needs tweaks, who needs buffs, who needs nerfs, all this kind of good stuff on its way. Interesting stuff coming out of the dev blog as well. I definitely want to know what you guys think in regards to stuff like the Prism cosmetic set. Is it too expensive? Is it too cheap? What do they need to change? Do they need to change it? Is that fine? Is it fine to have very expensive cosmetics to keep the game running? All of this good stuff. I'd love to know what you guys think, as watching community responses and seeing how people react to things is always super fascinating to me. So yeah, definitely help us out on that one. Otherwise, thank you guys for watching to the end. This has been Josh, as one voice amongst many, talking to you about 0.49. Should be live very soon. If you do want to follow me on Twitter at @1_amongst many. You can also follow my good buddy Sty at @Stylosa on Twitter. He's also on Instagram, but I'm sure you can go find him. You can also go find the YouTube channel Stylosa if you want a bunch of Overwatch news. If you want Valorant news, though, stick around. We should have some good stuff in the near future. See you soon. Toodles.